Greetings, this is Chris and welcome to Stellaris, the latest grand strategy game from Paradox. Now, I'm a veteran of Crusader Kings 2 and Europa Universalis 4, and I've followed the developer diaries for this game. I've watched streams. I'm very excited to play it, so we're going to start a new game, and I'm going to go straight into it, blind, and we'll see how things go. First things first, let's make sure things aren't too loud. Now, I'm going to make a new race completely from scratch. I have an idea of what I might like to go for. So we are going to start with our appearance, and I am looking for a nice bird race. I quite like the look of these blue guys. That's some really excellent eyebrow plumage. Yeah. So we'll go for that, I think. Name. We obviously need a name, and true to the spirit of alien languages, etc., etc., we're going to be Birbs. We are Birbs. Plural. Birbs. Adjective. Birb. We need to pick some ship prefixes. Well, clearly this is going to be the Birb Navy, BN, or the Birb Spaceship, BS. That sounds a bit naughty. We don't want BS in this game, do we? Let's go with the Birb Navy, BN. Although Navy has a sort of oceanic context, and we're more an air force. So BSF for Space Force, perhaps. Yeah, that sounds good. We'll have the Birb Space Force, and we're going to pick obviously some avian names. I think we're going to go for the middle set because I really like the idea of having the first set, because I really like the idea of having hatchlings and flocks. It's very nice. These are going to be completely and utterly unpronounceable, but we'll have to make do. So, now we have to pick some traits for our species. So what can we say about Birbs? Well, they're certainly not very intelligent. Extremely adaptive. That could be tempting. It's quite expensive, though. We'd have to pick something negative. Birbs don't breed particularly quickly. Talented. Quick learners, possibly. Strong, very strong. I wonder what... These don't seem to be in any particular order, actually, interestingly. Resilient, enduring... Aha! Conformists. Well, that could be an interesting one. We're going for Birbs. They sort of behave in a flock. But the ethics I have in mind are going to be a lot more individualistic, so... Oh, well, we'll have to go with charismatic, yes. I think our birds are definitely very, very charismatic. And, which means that other species will like having us around, which is nice. I like that. Oh, definitely nomadic as well. That seems highly thematic. Our birds are obviously used to flying long distances to change climates quickly, so yeah, I think that makes sense. I don't think I want to give them a negative trait to get some more penalties at this point. I mean, weak, solitary, they're certainly not solitary, not really decadent either. Can't pick the opposite type, so we can't be sedentary or repugnant. So we're going to be charismatic and nomadic species. So I don't know how well charismatic comes across in the game, actually. It'll be interesting to find out. I wonder whether other species actually have a favourable view of us as we're playing. So, our leader now, well, the uniform just changed and didn't change back. Never mind. Species like birds, bird species on Earth, typically don't really have leadership roles. That's not sort of communities they form. And a lot of them are fairly evenly balanced. Like if you look at penguins, the male and the female penguins take turns. I think in this case we'll have a female starting ruler called Rebic. randomly chosen. Sadly, my bird here doesn't have too many different colour variants to choose from, so they might look a bit similar after a while. But we get to pick some outfit for them. So we can go with the sort of Iron Man style thing with the glowing centre, the green, the blue, something a bit more naturalistic that looks like fur, and something kind of plumagey. I think I like this one. I like it because it's all sticking up and fancy, because obviously our birds like to do fancy things like have nice feathers and so on. So now we have to pick what sort of world we come from, and what this does is all the previous stuff we've decided really is just aesthetics, except for our traits. And this is kind of going to determine what sort of planets we can colonize in the world, because planets that are one step away from you, so in this case if we were continental we'd have ocean worlds and tropical worlds. One step away means slightly less habitability, 2 steps less even less than that, and if you go for the 2 opposite you're basically going to struggle to inhabit those. So I think the appropriate thing for our birds, they're kind of bluish. Tropical might be appropriate. Could I see them in a desert? I think I can more imagine them in a continental world, because then we can also potentially inhabit without too much penalty oceans and tropical worlds, and those seem much more appropriate for birds to me. Obviously, in an ocean world you'd be flying from island to island, and tropical world means you can create lovely, beautiful plumages. So we'll go for a nice continental world. Very human of us. We need a home world name. Well, I think this is something there's some very odd names here. This is something we might want to choose ourselves. So we'll call the star Orb, and we'll call our home world Roost. There we go. So our Birbs live on planet Roost, and they orbit Orb. That won't get confusing at all. Starting solar system. Ah yes, you can start if you wish to play human in the Sol system, but we'll start in a random system. As long as we have these names, it should be fine. So, we're getting there. There's much more to decide on. We're going to go with an avian city. That should suit us. We're a bird, after all. But you don't have to pick that. And now we get on to one of the critical points. We get to the ethics. And what I'm imagining for my birds is that they like shiny things. And so we probably want to be materialistic, in fact fanatically materialist, which means that we love to get things. We believe in the sort of reality of objects. The opposite to that is spiritual, where you believe there's something beyond just the objective things. So we certainly want to get at least 1 point in materialist, possibly 2. And then I don't imagine we're particularly pacifist or militarist. We're not particularly xenophobe or xenophile. I think in terms of whether we're collectivist or individualist, well, birds love to be individualist, I think. So we'll be getting lots and lots of money, but we won't tolerate slavery. I think if we're going to be an extreme type, let's go with individualist. I like the idea that they don't tolerate slavery, because birds don't like being in cages, which means we have 1 point left. So we can get slightly materialist. So we like shiny things, but we're not completely obsessed with efficiency and making everything just right. So that gives us a choice now. The ethics you pick gives us a choice of government. And we can either go for an indirect democracy, which would be sort of an analogy would be most governments in the real world, parliaments or congresses. That means our leaders are more skilled and cheap. Or we can have a direct democracy, in which case everybody gets to vote and we can have a larger, directly controlled empire. I think we should have indirect democracy. I like the idea that we have some noble birds who are much better at governing than everybody else, which means our leaders are going to be very, very efficient as well. So, now we just need an empire name. I quite like Commonwealth, but we're going to put a great in the front of it. We're the Great Birb Commonwealth, and our adjective is Birb. And actually, that reminds me, I'm going to name the star Shiny Orb. Okay, so we have our empire name. Now we have to design a nice flag. Yeah, I like this one. This one sort of says magnificent plumage. Then we need to pick some colours. Well, we'll try and pick some to go along with our sort of blue bird just there. So we'll have a blue colour, and I also like this idea that it sort of represents the planets, the continental planets they come from. So we've got the blue ocean and the 2 lands which they fly between. Can we choose the colour of the symbol, or is it always just a gold? I think it might just always be a gold one. Is there anything more? Looks sort of better in the centre there. Oh, we've got to pick a shape as well. Oh, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, I quite like the one we had, but... No, I think I like the one we had. I like the idea that these were 2 continents that were divided. Although I could switch the colours, but I like the primary blue, secondary green. So then we just need a symbol that looks good. Yeah, this one's suitable, I think. Yeah, we'll go with this one. Next up, we have to pick a weapon type. You pick one of 3 starting weapons. That doesn't stop you later in the game to get all the other types of weapons. And there's kind of a rock, paper, scissors thing going on. So energy is very effective against armor, and projectile weapons are very effective against shield, and missile weapons are vulnerable to point defense systems, which you can construct. So I think, since we like shiny things, we'll go with the energy weapons. And then that just leaves us to pick what kind of travel we might use. Warp travel lets you go anywhere, and your ships move slowly from place to place. Hyperspace means you have to follow links between star systems in the style of many games. For instance, goodness me, if anyone played the old Escape Velocity out on Mac, or in fact just the original space trading game, my memory fails me now. Elite, of course, used to have hyperspace connections. So that's the sort of map you'd be looking at there, connected solar systems. And that's kind of interesting. Wormhole travel is much more complicated. Wormhole travel means that you have to build a wormhole generator, and that kind of gives you a radius of operation within which your ships can travel back and forth between places and the wormhole system itself. So you have to keep building them to be able to expand further out, and it's been labelled with advanced players because it can be quite difficult to manage, I think, because you have to spend extra resources to actually expand further. Although it is very, very fast. Yeah, that's basically the trade-off here. This is the most free, and as you move up, it becomes faster, but less free movement, more restrictive. We'll go with warp travel for now. It's nice and straightforward, and we'll pick some avian ships. Although I kind of hope the colour scheme changes a bit. We'll see. So here we go. A summary of our empire. We have lasers. We have warp. We have avian ships. We come from a nice continent, and we're an indirect democracy. And in general, other species will like us, and we're nomadic, so we're very good at migrating and resettling. I think that suits us just fine. So we'll save it. You have the option to save all your races, and they may appear in your later games. Save successfully. And we're ready to go. So, since it's my first game, I'm not going to go out there and start with a huge world. Galaxy. I'm going to have a medium galaxy. I am going to have it spiraled, though, I think. 2 arms or 4? Let's go with 4 arms. I like spiral galaxies. They look nice. We'll leave these on the default. These 17 and 4 changes depending on how many stars you have, but we'll just leave it on standard. We'll play on normal difficulty. We'll play on Iron Man since we can get some achievements that way. And anyone can use any kind of FTL, so let's see how this goes. In the eons since the first primitive bird communities took shape on the grassy savannas of Roost, our civilization has spread and prospered. We were driven forward by steady scientific progress, and armed conflicts between nation-states became increasingly rare. The framework for a global democratic government was eventually laid, and when the last holdouts voluntarily joined, we stood united as a single nation. Now, after the successful creation of several experimental subspace fields, the finest minds of the Great Birb Commonwealth have finished the development of the first warp drives. The stars themselves are finally within our grasp. Yes, our birds who've been travelling from place to place their entire lives will now be able to travel among the stars. Ooh. So, this is our planet. Look how far in you can zoom. Isn't that pretty? You can move around, you can use the right mouse button when you're within a system. We can see everything within our system here. We have, at the start of the game, you'll notice that we're paused. This game is not turn-based, it's not real-time, it's pausable real-time. So we can start it whenever we like, and we can stop it whenever we like. We can have a look at some of the other planets in our system. Oh, we got Seeknor. Oh, that's adorable. If you're not familiar with it, then he is the Paradox streaming mastermind who's been running the blog campaign. We have Krak, Vra, Shiny Orb there in the middle. Oh, we have a blue star as well. Class B. Interesting. And we have an asteroid belt around the sun. See, asteroids can be looked at as well. This is very exciting. I love this procedurally generated stuff. It just means you have so much to look at straight away. And our planet, Roost here, has its own ring system. So exciting. So, what do we start the game with? Well, you always start the game with a construction ship, and construction ships are used to build stations. At this point, we don't really know what to do in terms of building because we haven't investigated our system properly. We also start with a small fleet of 3 corvettes, the smallest type of ship. We start with a station. This space station is the most powerful military asset we have. As you can see, it has 394 power compared to 69 of our fleet. So it's very good at withstanding attacks, and it should keep us going for a while before we have to build a serious fleet up. And we have a science ship, the most important thing at the start of the game because we need our science ships to explore and to discover things. So, we need to give our Empire some orders, and the place we're going to start, well, up here we have reminders and warnings. These things pop down whenever something important happens and you need to deal with it. So we have physics research, society research, and engineering research. Yes, we are basically, we need to do some science. So we'll start by looking at our scientists here. Yes, we have, sadly I'm slightly disappointed our birds are all the same colour. They hadn't built any extra colours into them. But we have a computing expert, a statecraft expert, and Earkarl here actually has probably one of the best traits I've ever seen, which is just he's very, very good. He's just a genius. To be fair, all of them are level 2 as well, which is possibly why some of these traits are better than other things. We can actually click on them and have a look. Our, oh, he's carefree. Oh, look at that little bird icon. That's so sweet. The scientist we have assigned to our science ship is actually very good at dealing with anomalies, which will be nice because that's what he's going to be looking at most of the game. Yeah, this is a way you can look at who's in your empire. We have governors, which doesn't matter at this point, but will later in the game. Admirals for fleets, generals for land invasions, and most importantly right now, scientists. And we need to select some research. Now, unlike in Civilization, or similar space games, there isn't a tree. Well, there is a tree, but it's hidden. What we actually have is a deck of cards, and we can pick what we're going to research from the 3 random options given to us. So at this point we could get fusion power, which means we can have more power available on our ships. A solar panel network, which will be nice for generating energy apparently on our spaceports, not on our planets. That makes some sense, I guess. Or we could get deflectors, which means we can build shields on our ships and also defend our planets better. I think this could be a good first choice. It means we can start saving money straight away. The main resources you have to deal with in the game are energy credits, which is essentially money. Resources, minerals, Minerals are for constructing things, new things on your planet, new ships. And influence, which is sort of deciding how many treaties you can sign, how many outposts you can build, that sort of thing. The system is all about if you find another set of aliens, you can rival them, and your rivalry will basically generate influence because you start acting more politically behind the scenes. Then we have our research up here. This is our strategic resources. We currently have none. Apparently there are special resources available in the universe. We have 1 planet and we have 3 ships in our fleet. Science ships and construction ships don't count, they're civilian. So we'll begin by selecting this one for our physics research. Over in society, well, actually we could get this, because this is a statecraft. Our scientist is very good at statecraft, and that's actually very nice. We can get +1 influence very early on. I'm impressed by that. So we're going to go straight for that. And then here, sadly... Oh, he's just good at everything, isn't he? So it doesn't matter what we pick, really. Defense platform, engineering facility. That would generate research. Or mining network would generate resources. Well, we like shiny things, so let's experiment with fracking. So we've done our research. Now we should give our science ship something to do, and I think the first thing we should do is... Well, we could enter the orbit of our planet, but we want to start exploring the system. So let's go to the nearest thing, which is this asteroid. And if we select our science ship, I accidentally deselected it there, we can survey the entire system, and then the game will automatically generate a path. I think it's the shortest path it can find, but I don't really know, because the planet's orbit. If so, that's very impressive, because it's really hard work to calculate in Kerbal Space Program. So yeah, we'll survey the asteroid, then the sun, then we'll move to our outer planets. And there's not much for the other guys to do just yet. I may move the construction ship, just here, towards the asteroid, just because if we find some minerals, we want to start building a station straight away. We could produce some new ships. For instance, we could build a second science ship. We could build a construction ship, a corvette. It's tempting to build a second science ship, actually, because if we start to explore faster, we may find more interesting things. But I don't know. It's quite a lot of... It's half our resources. And there are other things you can do. We are currently... This is our planet. All your planets have this sort of map of what's available on the surface. And ours is currently generating a sort of balance of resources. These areas with this sort of border of do not enter are blockers. Basically, you can't usefully use these areas until you spend money to clear them. They're quite cheap in this case, though. So we could actually try to clear one of these areas for more research, because research is quite important early on. I think that's probably a good idea, and we want to try and connect things, because there is some adjacency effects for buildings. For instance, everything next to your capital city here has a bonus to its production. So I think we're going to spend some of our resources on clearing this, because I really want to get some more research. Oh, alas, we have not enough money. Oh, that's tragic. We can't do that right now. Possibly then we should build something on the empty space. We have 2 birds working empty spaces, and if you build something on a space, it kind of overwrites the automatic production. So if you build something that generates minerals from mining, then we'll lose the food on this space here. If we decide to generate power, we'll lose both. So actually what we want to do is probably build a farm on the farming space. And as it turns out, our leader is very good at building farms because he's made it cheaper. So the governor likes farms. So we're going to start building a farm. Aha! We do have a president. Of course, we named our president. Our president's incredibly skillful. Wow. So our president has 2 traits here. Champion of the people, which makes everybody happy. That's excellent. And an industrial for more minerals. That's also very nice. So in fact, how happy are our people? Very, very happy. 84%. That's good. We'll keep everybody happy. Under the government tab here, there are other things you can do. We can see when our next election is. No one's opposing our President Rebic right now. But every 5 years we will have an election, because we're in an indirect democracy. And we can also play around with seeing how much money we're making and losing. We can also set policies. So currently, if we get into a war, we don't really do terribly much. We sort of leave things running as they are, and so it won't affect our stance in the war. You can change your setup so that you get boosts depending on whether you're defending or attacking. So basically, the more you're with these 2 types of industry, the more you're winning, the more complacent people become. So you have penalties on offensive wars, but the more you're getting your ass kicked in a defensive war, the more people rally together. But we'll leave it as it is. We have prohibited slavery, as it should be. We want birds to be free. We're not allowed to purge populations, which means we can't slaughter people at will. We have the weakest... Oh no, we have the second weakest form of limited, which is... so if you do invade another planet, you can bombard it from space. And this is currently limited, which means we can do quite a lot of... I think I might switch that to light. I don't know what the difference will be. We can't change it for 10 years, but frankly that's not much space and time. We're not going to end up in a combat. But it doesn't seem to have any benefit. Ah, of course, if you keep civilian casualties to a minimum, then when you take over the planet, you'll have more people available. No, let's leave it at limited, actually. I don't want to change that right now. Free migration, of course. We allow our birds to move wherever they wish. Resettlement is whether or not we can forcibly change people. No, we can't make anyone go where they don't want to go. They should be allowed to migrate freely. Birbs like their houses and their things and their nests, and they like to go where they please. Currently, voting rights are on primary species only, but that's fine. We don't have any aliens. Leadership is equally primary species only. Won't make a difference. And our first contact protocol, if we do meet alien life forms, is peaceful. We can also enact edicts if we wish, and this is where influence comes into play. We can prevent people from diverging from our core ethics of being fanatically individualist and materialist. But that sort of slows down people's science. We can encourage people to think outside the box to improve our science, but at the same time people will start to resent our core ethics. This improves... Yes, these three improve the various types of science, so you can spend more on one at the cost of the others. Right now we're not interested in edicts, I don't think. That just leaves demographics, and this is only going to come into play later in the game, I think, because this tells you sort of how many alien species you have in your empire. So we've given basic orders, and one thing that's worth looking at actually is the galaxy map. We know of 3 stars within the local area, and here, everybody, goodness, look at this. Here is the entire galaxy. Somehow we know some of the features. I guess through telescopes we know about some nebulas, the Demon's Eye Nebula, the dust clouds, more dust clouds, Erium Nebula. Sadly we're not near any exciting nebulae. We just have the Great Birb Commonwealth. But we do know about some stars nearby, so once we finish surveying our system here, we'll actually put on our warp drive and find out what's there. So, actually I really wish that when you zoomed in and out it would switch between the map modes automatically, so if anyone's working on a mod, do that please. Let's look at a middle distance and set things running at normal speed. This is lovely. We can actually watch our ships. We can actually tag them so we stay following them. Aha, there is a shortcut. Our ship is now scanning this asteroid, and the asteroid, as I thought it might do, has minerals on it, so our construction ship here can build a mining station in orbit of the asteroid, and we'll get a nice input of minerals. Minerals are quite important early on because they let you build more stations and more ships, so we're going to have to make sure to keep an eye on our income here. We don't want to lose too much money by building too much at the same time. Oh wow, we can also... Goodness, we can also build, what, some sort of solar station around the planet? Do we have the ability to do that just yet? I don't think we do. Frontier outpost. So if you build a frontier outpost, that basically expands your borders. We can't terraform. Okay, maybe we haven't discovered the ability to build solar panel networks yet. Because apparently Shiny Orb... Oh no, we can build a mining station to do it. Okay, you can also mine energy credits. I didn't realise that. Wow, we've got lots of nice mining planets available.
Anomaly found.
Okay, let's pause. So one of the things you're going to encounter whilst you're surveying your planets are anomalies. And your scientists can research these anomalies for benefits. And they lead to some exciting quest lines as well. So in this case, we've got a very, very low-level anomaly. During the survey of our home system, we found something on Spaaaace that did not match earlier observations made from our home world. That's interesting. It's a level 1 anomaly, which means that we basically have no chance of failure. In fact, we're going to be very good at researching these because our leaders are all level 2, which means they have an increased chance of success. So let's get on and see how the research goes. He's going to pause his previous mission, I believe, and spend some time outside the planet in orbit researching what's happening there. Yes, we can now see that we are researching this anomaly. Right, meanwhile, our construction ship, has it finished the mining station? Ah, this is what this is. I've been wondering what this is for a long time now, and it all makes sense. This is our home world. This is our military set of ships. This is our science ship, and this is our construction ship, and we can see how far they are along doing the tasks we've allotted to them. Can we queue things up is my next question. So if I were to say, build a mining station there, yes, it queues it up. Very nice. We also won't be able to afford that, but never mind. We also have confirmation.
Hostile fleet detected.
Whoa, really? Already? What? Oh my god, we already have alien vessels with a really high power coming towards us. Okay, this is not nice. Okay, I think just to be on the safe side, we've just spent all of our money. Yay. We can't possibly get attacked at this point, can we? That would be absurd. Maybe we should cancel this station and build some ships. Or maybe we should build a mining station more importantly than an energy station. What costs money here? Buildings, ships, stations. I think we would be better off getting more minerals as soon as we can, actually. So is there any way to cancel the order we've given? Currently... Aha! We can stop and we'll get our minerals back. Excellent. So in fact, what I'd like you to do is build a mining station around the planet with minerals on it. The anomaly we detected on SPEM crew unveils something astonishing. The moon is surrounded by a trail undoubtedly produced by FTL engines. We are unable to trace it to its origin due to it being generated long ago. Interesting. We should continue to investigate these sorts of anomalies whenever we get the chance. It will most assuredly grant us new knowledge and technology. Someone's been watching us. But why? Very exciting. So now we've discovered that someone was watching us. We will continue with our survey of the system. Now that didn't give us anything in itself, completing that little survey, anomaly survey, but it probably leads to an ongoing set of missions. Aha! The Great Birb Commonwealth is abuzz with news of the alien remnants studied by the BSF Vehement Hatchling. These leavings are considered definitive proof of intelligent, purposeful alien activity at some point in the past. We may still be alone now, but we are at least not the first to be so. Interesting. So we have already got the second event in whatever event chain that is. We have encountered some form of alien vessels in the Turius system. They've been flagged as alpha aliens. Until we can learn more about them, we should proceed with caution. Okay, this could be first contact. So we actually need to dispatch our fleet, our very, very weak fleet, please don't be hostile, to Turius to investigate. And I believe if we go to our science section... Nope, not the science section. Somewhere there is a list of events that are interesting and that we need to keep an eye on. Aha, the situation log. So if we started this research, we will put on hold our society research, but something tells me unifying our planet is not as important as researching these aliens. So get on it, scientist. Who is doing that project? Kirill. Kirill, keeping it real by finding out about aliens. So we finished that mining station. Have we discovered any more interesting resources? A frozen world, habitability 0. We haven't surveyed those ones yet. Where's our science ship? Oh, okay. A barren world, no resources. So the only other planet or body with resources is the sun. So it might be a good idea. We can't afford it. Well, move over to the sun, and unless we find something more interesting, you'll be able to build a mining station there as well.
Special project complete.
Aha. Okay, the alien entities that we saw some time ago are space-borne forms of life. Quickly nicknamed Space Amoeba following an analyst's gross misreading of initial sensor output, the creature is in fact larger than the average Birb corvette. Further study is warranted. We may choose to either remotely monitor the creature and its kin from roost, or attempt to swiftly bring down a specimen to study. Well, we're not the best militarily right now, so I think we should study them at a distance.
Situation log updated.
And I think we should crack straight on with that. I think our society research can wait. There are far more important things than uniting the planet. I keep saying. Meanwhile, I'm actually going to bring our main fleet back from that secondary system. I'm getting used to the controls.
System survey complete.
Good, so we finished surveying our entire home system, and a lot of the planets are very boring and uninhabitable. Barren world, gas giant. But we found some useful minerals, and now we have to choose another place to go to. Well, the closest system is Stellaris. It's a red star, class M. Well, if I've learnt anything from Star Trek, it's that class M stars... No, that's class M planets. Damn. Can I find out anything about the planets in this area? Toxic, barren. That sounds terrible. We're not going there. Toxic. Oh, potentially habitable. Continental. Toxic. Gas giant. So actually we've got some information on these planets because we've presumably been observing them through telescopes and the like. We don't know much about that system, but I think the best thing we can do is go to Eloy and start surveying it. This game has a nice pace to it. Certainly at the moment I don't feel rushed by anything. I mean, there's several things I haven't shown off yet up here. For instance, if we go to the ship designer, you can have a look at the layout for our current ship.
Special project complete.
Ooh. The Space Amoebas, the name has stuck, is too unwieldy for the average Birb. That's excellent. All but the younger specimens are accompanied by quasi-independent flagella, organisms spawned by the amoeba and programmed through liquid. RNA-laced secretions to do the bidding of the host. That's cool. These flagella are capable of manipulating and even attacking objects in an impressive yet restricted range around the host, periodically returning to lodge inside the host's amoeba's body for reprogramming. There are potential military applications of the graceful patterns of circulation. Cool. So that means that... Oh, apparently all of our ships will be able to evade things slightly faster because we can copy their aerodynamics, or not aerodynamics, cosmodynamics? Spaceness. Anyway, we were just about to look at our ships here. These are our cheapest, most small spaceships. In fact, they're the only ones we can build right now. I think there are 2 classes larger than this that you unlock later in the game. Here are our construction ships. They look a bit like whales, actually. And our science ship. I really like the science ship. It looks excellent. And each of these has various slots available into which you can place things. So as you increase your technology, you can add different types of drive. You can improve the computer. Oh, something's happened. We've encountered some formed alien vessels in the Turi system. They've been flagged as beta aliens. Okay, well, more aliens. We should probably research those. What are we currently doing, actually? Currently researching planetary unification. We obviously finished that other... did we finish that other project? We must have done, I suppose. So yeah, let's give up on research again. Who cares about unifying the planet? We need to find out about these aliens. Okay, and we finished our mining station as well. So now we can actually just send this planet, the construction ship, sorry, back to our home world until we find out something about the... Oh! Ooh! Okay. Okay, interesting. Right, so there are some aliens. The beta aliens are right there. And they are approaching our mining station. I hope they're not hostile. There's some sort of space jellyfish. Yes, definitely space jellyfish. I know a space jellyfish when I see one. Okay, so what I was doing before was looking at the ships. Our current ships are armed with 3 small lasers, and you can actually change this if you want to. You can change the core type, so you have more of an offensive ship or more of a defensive ship. I'm actually pretty happy with what we have. We have, I think, a middling... this makes no difference because we don't have any special designs there, and we don't have any special designs there either. Although we can add power. And
system survey
when we
complete.
unlock them, we can
Anomaly
add systems
found.
as well. Meanwhile, I am... Whoa, are they attacking us? No? Oh, that's very, very creepy. I'm worried. Okay, we finished surveying Eol, but I am really worried about these aliens. What are they doing? They just did like a flyby. Okay, they're just being peaceful, I think. Maybe it's just one of their migration routes. Well, anyway, we found another anomaly over in Iol. A cargo pod that has been left in space. So we could try to rescue it. Well, yeah, certainly, because we didn't put it there, so it must be aliens. Research it. Let's find out what's going on. And in fact, let's look at the system now we've finished investigating it. Oh my god, there's more space blobs, jellyfish things. Excellent, this planet is ripe for habitation. It's quite large as well. Very nice. And the sun can be mined for energy. This is definitely going to be where we expand next, I think. I just hope that these alien jellyfish don't take offense to us scanning everything. So, the cargo pod was left by someone. It's been ignored by other spacefarers. We found a stash of alien jewellery made out of precious metals. How utterly random. I'm not quite sure why that gives us energy credits instead of minerals, but hey, no complaints here. We now need to give our science ship something else to do. Well, that place looks like a complete waste of time, so why don't you go and survey Dathana. Meanwhile, I should find something to spend our resources on, because we have quite a few. How far away are we from discovering that research? Blimey, we're miles away. Am I really slow at science, or maybe I'm just terrible at science? I don't know. That would be a shame. It's my job day to day.
Special project complete.
Oh, does that mean we now know about the beta aliens? The spaceborne life forms, which the Birb head of society research has come to refer to as Tyanki, are docile creatures. They can somehow travel through a lower dimension of subspace. They graze on gases common to upper layers of many gas giants. It is highly likely that this is their only food source. They will rarely, if ever, attack, even when provoked. Excellent! I'm glad to hear it. I don't want to attack any of our alien friends. Now, how's the planet? The old home planet doing? This guy here, in sort of a shadowy fill-in, he is our new population who will be born very soon, in fact. 44 out of 45. He's very close to being born. You can see that he has the same ethics in us and the same traits as us, so everything's fine. Everyone's united on our home world. We may want to build something. Or, in fact, what we should do is start unblocking things. So let's unblock this wasteland. So I really want to build a science lab just there. And then we can move one of the populations. In fact, can we? Yes, we can move populations. I believe that even though we have, we're not able to resettle populations, that means they won't move from planet to planet, but they will move around on your planet, so that's fine. We have space amoeba. that should be fine. We now know that they're not dangerous. Oh, one thing also worth looking at whilst we're zoomed out is that this is in 3 dimensions. Our home planet is below the plane of the galaxy, and we have been surveying things above the plane of the galaxy. It's so pretty. And I just love that it snaps back into place so you don't get lost. In fact, does it do that when you return to a system, or does it remember your view? So our view is this. Let's go back here. Let's visit another system. Exit, home system. Okay, it does snap back to this normal view. That's good, because I also would get lost here as well if I wasn't paying attention. Okay, we have lots and lots of resources, and this is taking quite a long time to clear. Let's also start clearing this one. It's going to be a nice energy resource supplier. What I really want to do is build a science lab here, get someone working there, and then get someone working on that system here. We also, I think, should build another science ship. I don't know, it depends when we finally get colony ships, because we want to go and colonise as soon as possible in the Isle system. But it's going to be some time, because we didn't draw in our first set of technologies. So a second science ship could be very useful. A leader has gained a level. Excellent. Why don't we queue up...
Anomaly found.
Why don't we queue up just a couple more military ships? And we'll have them join our existing fleet, and then we'll have a little bit larger fleet, just so I feel a bit safer. Creamac has leveled up. Every time one of your scientists gains experience, there's a chance of them getting another trait. In this case, he only gained a skill point, but that means he's better at studying anomalies again. Has he found any? Oh, he has found something. Is that... yes, another continental world that he's going to survey for us. Wonderful. And what's he discovered so far? Barren. Toxic. So not terribly exciting. But we have a new anomaly. Efforts to map the surface of the planet have identified a strange mountain formation in the southern hemisphere. It does not appear to have formed naturally. Research it. Ooh. What was previously thought to be an assorted mountains in the southern hemisphere of Dathana 4 have been identified as the massive skeletal remains of a single colossal alien life form. The bones have been dated as 3.4 billion years old, but our scientists have ruled out that Dathana 4 could have supported life on that scale at any point in the planet's history. Science Officer Creamac has prepared a special research project to delve further into this mystery. Well, hey guys, we've discovered space amoebas and what was the other one? Space jellyfish. So, pretty sure that it's just going to be the remains of some giant space-born creature, but...
Situation log updated.
Hey, whatever you like. So, scientists present, scientists of skill 3 or higher, we have a science ship in orbit. Oh, has the science ship moved on?
Construction complete.
Yeah, we built a ship. Go back to Dathana, because I'd quite like him to go and do that first before the surveying. Yes, excellent. That's actually quite nice, because that means that our normal scientists are doing their thing, and he's researching out in space. Oh, we've given them a name now. Sorry, they're space whales. They're not space jellyfish. Space whales. They look like jellyfish. Aww. Oh, we know one of them's a baby. Oh, that's so sweet. Aww. So we have the female space whale, and then the male space whale, and then the baby space whale. Oof. And they can apparently FTL travel. Very cool. Makes sense for a space alien.
Construction complete.
You guys go join that fleet. And I think we'll save minerals up for a little while, because I actually don't know how much a colony ship or any of these new things we're researching is going to cost. Okay, we're coming up to the end of year 2, so I think I'm going to call it a part just here. And so far I'm really enjoying this. The music's fantastic, the graphics are wonderful, and everything I feel like I'm doing is just fun and exciting, and I'm looking forward to expanding the Birb Empire. My sights are set on Isle, although it isn't terrific as things go, but the planet itself is quite large, and as soon as we get Birbs migrating there, it'll become a wonderful place. And then hopefully something nice comes out of the anomaly we found in Dathana. So I hope you enjoyed this. This is my first look completely blind at Stellaris, so sorry if I stumbled over anything a bit slowly for you. And I will be back soon. So long, and goodbye.